So, we might get started actually on that note. Um, just conscious that I actually am going to finish this, then I'm going to go and run my Balin module for some people. So I should probably give myself some time, and then I'm going to work anyway. All right, I'm going to just record it because, like I said, I'll be making it up as I go, a little bit, but I've got the ideas in my head. Okay, so. The setting is 1943, 8th of January is when it starts. So um, the Russians have completely encircled German forces inside Stalingrad. So there is now, as a, in effect, no escape. Um, the Russian military has closed off the last exit gates back towards the west and made an official offer of surrender to Field Marshal now, von Paulus, who uh, has just been promoted by Hitler, literally, because no German field marshal has ever surrendered in the field. So he promotes him in a desperate effort to make sure he doesn't surrender, which, by the way, fails. But that's for the future, not for now. Well, 20 odd days from now. Um, you are playing a disparate group of individuals who, in effect, are all trapped inside this enclave, and for various reasons against your own choosing, um, find yourselves in this position. So, to sort of quickly run through that concept, um, those of you who are playing Russian POWs, uh, Stalin's Order 227, the no surrender, no retreat order, also means effectively summary execution of any soldier who surrenders. So if you are captured by Russian forces, the most likely outcome for you is that you're put against a wall immediately and shot. Whilst Order 227 does not directly apply to civilians, it certainly comes close enough, and overambitious NKVD officers and commissars are likely to apply that rule as much to civilians as they are to soldiers. Um, the German military, particularly, is also rounding up and executing anyone who looks like they're a deserter who might surrender. And that also applies to Allied forces or fascist Allied forces operating in the area, a number of whom are here. So at this point in the war, Romania and Hungary and Italy are all fascist states, and have sent units to fight with the Germans on the Eastern Front. Italy sends one unit. I think it's only one to fight. Sorry, Luigi. So you drew the short straw. Find
Mm,
yourself
mm,
in the Far East, freezing your ass off. Far, far away from 29 degrees centigrade evenings.
yeah.
Um, uh, it is damn cold. So the winter has come down like a thunderstorm on the entire region, which in some ways is better than what comes before it. So the mud, oh no, sorry, the mud comes around in spring. So you have, sort of find yourselves trapped in this area, basically surrounded by a whole stack of people who don't want you to be alive, for various flavors of the same reason, which is in effect the ego of two monstrous people. So you've all been sort of making your way, and you four in particular have found yourselves, broadly speaking, in one of these little units of unarmed individuals who've been forced by particularly German forces to go around and collect firewood and try and find water and collect supplies as you can. Um, you can imagine the city is literally a broken wasteland, and I do mean literally. There's this great picture, which some of you would have seen because I ran a kind of version of this a couple of years ago, that was much less Cthulhu-esque. Um, if you have ever seen a picture of Stalingrad in this point in winter, at this point, it is literally a shattered remnant of a city with just these great icy plains and these broken buildings sticking out of it. Um, so that's where you find yourselves. Uh, we're going to start in media res, as they say, so start in the middle of action. Um, you've all been rounded up by field gendarmerie, which are the German military police. Um, and you are literally standing there shivering in barely, in pretty thin coats against this wall. There is this officer wearing the sort of, if you've ever seen any World War II military stuff with German MPs in it, you'll see they all wear these big silver sort of neck pieces that hang here.
Gorgets.
Gorgets, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It is what I've written in the module. um, Standing there, and in effect, they've rounded you up, and you realize in the process of being, where you find yourselves, you're about to be executed. So you are
Oh,
literally about to be executed. You're lined up against this wall. It takes a moment for your brains to realize that's what's about to happen. And this field marshal or Hauptmann, Dressler, is sort of standing there on one side. He's got his Offsider and a couple of other, maybe two, maybe three, field gendarmerie troops with him. And for whatever reason, you've been deemed excess to requirements. Okay. Can you quickly, and noting you've only just gotten your hands on it, um, and I haven't written physical descriptions, I've written sort of more what you're
mm.
about. Uh, Describe who you are playing, please. Maybe starting with Arcady, since Arcady is officer material.
I was just looking. I was like, oh my God, hope he doesn't ask me first.
Oh,
Yes, my name is Arcady, and I was previously fighting with my fellows in the Russian army. And then unfortunately I was picked up as this happens, and then I was forced to. Well, I was offered a choice. By the way, Thomas, I'm looking at this out of the corner of my eye. So if you're thinking, what's he talking about? It's nothing like this. Just stop me. Um, I was captured. The Germans gave me an option to die there on the spot or help out. I became part of what they call the Hiwis, which is a shortened version of a German word which I'm not going to pronounce. But what it means is an auxiliary soldier or like a helper, really, someone who's been pressed into working for another side in this particular case. Now, why he I'm just trying to have a read now. Um, I've been a good member of the Hiwi squad, but I can see other you guys could potentially be of some help, and we can all help each other, and we can get out of this terrible situation. That's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a way of getting out of this situation. You guys, as a Russian, I can see you're well exactly what the Russians are looking for, and hopefully, if I can get us to out of this mess, we can get back to the Russians and we can convince them, hopefully, that we are on their side and to take us back into the bosom of Mother Russia. I think that
Oh,
covers it, really.
forever the optimist.
Yeah, it's definitively Arcades, but a whole focus is he's fundamentally a believer in the Russian state. He's done this thing to survive, but he knows that Russia will accept him back because he's a true believer. And we all know how that ends. Anyway,
No, no spoilers.
I was actually thinking of Zukov when I came up with Arcady. Like Zukov spends the second half, just after the war, believing that Stalin was never really his enemy. It's quite an
Oh,
amazing
best
level of
mates.
self deception. Boris, Matthew.
Right. Boris is in his late 20s, but his face is lined prematurely by his past life. So he looks a bit older than he actually is. He was in the now is it Hiwi or is it Hivi? I'm just wondering in German.
It's probably he V in German because they would V
Yeah.
the W, right?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that. So, and he's been in the Hivi unit longer than you. Actually, I was a founder member, Arcady, but I'm not looking for rank or anything. I prefer to, just do my job and get on with it. I am, however, the smartest of the auxiliaries in the EV unit. I have cobbled together from salvaged parts as close to a complete uniform as any auxiliary has ever seen, and I keep it in pretty good nick, which is all a bit of a disguise for who I truly am. And who I truly am, just to reassure you, Arcady, is a loyal communist, obviously. My parents did dally uh, with with counter-revolution at some point in the past, but they were also actually they weren't. They didn't dally. They were loyal communists too. There was a misunderstanding which saw them executed. I am a survivor, and in fact, the first thing I'm doing is Klaus here among us.
No, Klaus is the one that was not chosen.
Damn, I was going to
Yeah.
stick him in front of me. However, I'm
Sorry,
going to.
Klaus.
I have a strategy. I'm going to turn to you, Arcady, in a bit after the others have explained themselves.
All right, maybe we go Ileana next, and then we'll go Luigi last.
Ileana is 25. She's attractive, but she is completely dressed in the same way as all the rest of the males in attendance. She has cut her hair to look like a young man. She has a very fond memory of a trip she had with her parents down to the sea. And that image is probably the only thing that kind of keeps her going. Her parents have gone missing. Her younger brother, died of a disease, and she was left alone. And during that time, uh, she was found by soldiers, but you know that she's in some way mentally scarred and will not be left alone. She's um, uh, I would say insecure about being left alone, or that is an aspect of her personality. She cannot be left alone. She very much trusts Luigi and believes that Luigi cares um, cares, and she respects people who care. And her main focus is to get the hell out of Stalingrad.
And on that note, Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi is 45. He's Italian from the city of Pisa. Uh, Despite being born under the fascist rule of Il Duce, he really despised the fascist movement. But he joined the army because he was poor and he need to support his family, so he joined the army. He served in North Africa at first. Um, the cam the campaign was good. There was a couple of victories, but we are pushed by the British, and then the Germans came and defeated them, and the German treat us like we were cowards. That's when I want to leave the army, but I was transferred to join the German assault on Russia. So I was sent to Russia, and I hate the cold, even maybe more than I hate the fascists. So I despise the Germans and really don't like Russians. I probably don't like anyone. But he's he like the unit that he is in. He's um, especially Klaus. I think he's okay. The only thing that interests
Alex is
Luigi
gone, mate.
is yeah, there's no Klaus. The only thing that he really interests is cars and trucks and tanks. So yeah, and let's see what Luigi will do.
Alrighty. So, on that note, oh, sorry, Boris, you wanted to say something to Arcady before we roll on.
We're not going to get to the other side without first being useful to these Germans. You're the commanding officer. Look, even if they need admin done, we can do admin. Luigi there can repair trucks. I don't know about the woman. Well, now I do know about the woman. She can offer other services. We're against, move it. Just, okay, say something in German, as good a German as you can manage.
I am pretty good at German, I think.
Yeah, most
Forget
of you,
Uncle Joe
all
right
of you
now.
can speak some degree of German.
Mm.
Most
Uncle
of you can
Adolf
speak
is a
some
person
degree of
you're
Russian.
swearing loyalty to
Mm.
right now.
Do I, to be fair, do we all, am I dressed as an officer or?
You are dressed in whatever you were able to cobble together. So,
Okay.
completely up to you if you want to have like a Russian sort of Germans, sorry, Russian officers' chevrons, on your like an old Russian jacket. Um, what you are not in is like a really nice warm Russian jacket because that would have been stolen from you. So you might be wearing like a thin summer jacket. You're certainly not wearing one of those beautiful sort of sheep-lined things because there's no way the Germans would let you wander around with that when they're freezing. Because that's the other thing, the Germans didn't get the supplies they needed for winter, so they're desperately stealing stuff.
Okay. So I'm supposed to convince these desperate Germans that we're worth saving, despite us looking like a big pile of.
Well, that's what Boris is trying to convince you to do.
Yeah. 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 I mean, do I give out a kind of I don't know. It's about why doesn't Boris do it? I mean, I will do it. I obviously will do it because I,
Because you're
was
the
commanding
officer,
officer.
Arcady.
I exactly.
Start the
But I mean,
conversation, and then I'll carry on. But you start the conversation.
but in as Russia, as good Russians, we the officer class doesn't stand quite in the same way above the general proletariat as they might do in other countries. So I mean, I'd be happy to offer you a chance to show
Comrade,
your.
make the introductions, and then I.
Okay, all right. So we're just about to get lined up and shot.
Correct.
Is that right?
That is explicitly what it looks like right now. And I've got to say, without giving anything away,
It's a short game.
it has occurred to me, I assumed, for whatever reason, and it's a bit embarrassing, I assume most of you had played Cthulhu. So can I just spend 2 minutes talking to you about the Cthulhu system? Because it occurs to me that for a number of you, this is reasonably new terrain. I'm pretty sure, obviously, Matthew has played Cthulhu before because we're of a similar generation when it comes to gaming and started about the same time. I started in 1982, so I think that's pretty close.
We both started the same year.
Yeah. So Cthulhu is a D100 system, so you roll percentiles against your skill. If you roll under your skill, it's a success. If you roll less than half of your skill, it's effectively a good success, or I can't remember the exact language they use in this one. And then if you roll 1/5 of your skill, it's an extreme success. And then if you roll a 0/1, it's a critical.
Hard.
Now, what you'll notice straight away is you have pretty crap skills.
Yay!
Cthulhu is a game where failure is an accepted part of the rule system. You can do two things to improve your chance of success. One of those things is you have what is called luck, which is a reasonably new innovation in Cthulhu land. Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, new in Cthulhu world, but not new. I mean, seventh edition's been around for at least 7 or 8 years now. Um, so you can spend luck points to increase or rather decrease the value of your roll. So if you roll a 65 and you've got a skill of 60, you spend 5 luck points, you've got a success because you're bringing the skill roll down to the number you need it to be. Which also applies once you're successful. So if you really want that extreme success, you can spend a couple of luck points to get there. The second thing you can do is what's called pushing. Pushing basically allows you to roll twice, but it's a little bit like Free League and other game systems. There is a price for pushing. And in particular, what happens is when you declare you want to push, I say the following words: here is the consequence of that decision. And if you fail the roll the second time, consequence lands on your head. So, and not everything can be pushed. Important point. For a start.
Just for clarification, if you say this will be the consequence of that pushing, can you then go, yeah, maybe I'm not going to push after all?
Yes, you absolutely can. It's completely player choice. Once they're aware of the implication of a push, they can make the decision. You know what? I'm just going to accept what I got already. Thanks very much for asking. There is also a mechanic for bonus dice and I can't remember what. Anyway, the opposite of bonus dice, which is in extremely easy or extremely difficult circumstances, or where you're getting significant assistance or not, as the case may be. You can add a bonus die. When you hit the roll, you'll see it come up. It'll ask you a bunch of questions. So if you click on any skill right now, you'll get what type of roll are you making: regular, combined, or opposed. The normal one should be just regular. And the roll difficulty is how hard it is to succeed. So I might say, well, it's that. You've got your bonus dice sort of running there from -2 to +2. The bonus die add to the tens or replace the tens, I should say. So if you're rolling 3 dice, 2 of them are the tens, you choose the best or the worst, depending on the scenario. What else? Sanity is the mechanic for managing how resilient you are. I'm loath to use the term mental health just because there's been over the years many comments about Cthulhu and mental health, which I will neither choose to engage in at this point. Simply to say, sanity is your mental resilience stat. When it goes down, you suffer consequences which present as conditions similar to actual mental health issues. If you have to roll a stat, which you will also have to do, you click on the stat name, so strength, con, app, and the same pop-up should appear. Cthulhu is a deadly game. There is no magical healing and there is no magical armor. So when people shoot you with guns, it tends to hurt a lot and put you down for a while. You can punch people out, you can club them down with clubs while you have clubs, and other things as the case may be. I think that's enough to roll forward with.
Taking that as I've been kind of looking at my skills, and as a sort of leader
you're shit.
of men and women, I'm rubbish. I mean,
you are
it would
you
be
are actually the one person who doesn't have any talking skills at all. Every other
which is why I'm like, Boris, like, what are
every
you
other
talking
PC
like?
has talking skills. You are a dedicated soldier. You're an excellent fighter,
I'm very good at
and
climbing mountains. If
you are
the
outstanding,
German,
actually.
firing squad in front of us was a the Eiger or something like that, I'd be able to scale it no problems. But if I need to fast talk them, charm them, any of that, I'm a completely charmless nerk.
You are.
Yes.
You're
Oh,
also a
great.
pretty damn fine shot. You know, if you had a gun right now,
If only,
if only, there'd be a whole different conversation going on. You
Yeah,
are
that's great.
explicitly an example of NCO to officer material who has primarily operated on the basis of the social structure of the Russian army, which is explicitly, people follow your orders because you're in charge, not because you're
Now,
good
steady
at
on.
it,
Steady on,
right?
mate.
Like
Steady on, chap. Chappy. Okay.
you are good at
Right.
reading
Okay.
people, though. Just to make the point, you are good at
Mm.
reading people. So psychology skill in Cthulhu is explicitly about reading the
Oh,
motivations
yeah.
of people. So you
Okay.
are good
Okay.
at that.
So I could, in this particular case, I could do something in such a way that I could ask a question in such a way that I could get an idea, if I've succeeded, from the people who are just about to shoot us, what it would take for us to get out of this sticky situation, and then possibly with that, could that go forward to like maybe a boat? Is there any chance of getting bonuses or anything like that? I
Yes.
mean,
So yes, absolutely.
once I know, like for example, I could say to their commanding officer, listen here, we're both commanding officers. We're both in a sticky situation. We can help each other out. What's on your mind? Brother officer to brother officer. I know we've been on different sides of the war in the past, old boy, but come on now, let's put our noggins together. Obviously, he's turned into a British officer. Let's put our
Mm.
noggins together and see if we can, rustle up something which will, means that we could win on everyone's a winner.
Make
Maybe.
by all means, make a psychology roll. Give me the first roll of the day. Um,
Okay.
how well do you
Mm.
meet
So it's just
meet
a regular roll, just roll on this, yeah.
Yep, well,
So,
just keep it simple. So just click psychology.
ooh.
83, yep, which is about representative of where it
Mm.
should be. Okay.
What is
Well,
Boris's
Mm.
rank? Sorry, no, Boris. I'm Boris. What is
yes.
Arcadie's rank?
He doesn't really have one anymore. He's just a soldier like you.
Yeah, but
So
he's the
But
commander of our little Hiwi unit, isn't he?
sure, but that's
So that would be Leutnant
Irrelevant.
in German.
yeah, sure. Yep, Leutnant. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go Leutnant. Tell them. But I'm saying this louder and in German
Yeah,
for the
excellent.
benefit
of your German
tell them
comrades.
we are not deserters. We were sent to gather supplies, and we've gathered supplies. And then I will look surreptitiously, sort of sidelong, at Ilyana and say, we've gathered good supplies, but we could be useful.
All right, so
You want me to
geez.
say that in German or charmingly?
I think charmingly. I'm assuming I've given you enough German to get by.
Yeah.
Because survival has inspired you to learn pretty
Yeah.
decent German. And actually, before the war,
Mm.
the Russian army was working very effectively with the German army and was sharing information all the time.
Why am
Don't
I
forget,
not?
it was the Russians who taught the Germans how to do blitzkrieg, not the other way around. Um,
Why am I not? Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm not in what's it mode. Now, and that one I rolled on charm doesn't work this time, does it?
Unfortunately, no, your one-off critical in charm has not
Mm.
come in. Okay,
78. No, that's no good at all.
that's no good at all.
No.
All right, so you guys are desperately begging Ileana.
Mm.
Is there anything you want to say, Luigi? Is there anything
What
you
about
want to
Luigi?
say?
Has
I want
Luigi got
to.
Italian charm?
Nope.
Okay, so
Natural
Luigi's good
Italian
at
charm.
Luigi's
Yeah.
good at fixing cars,
So-
driving them.
okay, so
I.
I
Okay, go ahead.
go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Luigi.
No,
Do you
I just
shrug
want to
or-
check. I want to check the surrounding and check if there any.
Look for escape routes. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Luigi's looking at this problem in a completely different way to everyone else.
He's
I don't think they're for the persuading. How the hell do we get out of this?
he's looking at everybody. I think that Luigi is looking at the two other soldiers and saying, "What a mistake to make!"
Mamma
You should
mia.
catch the reference.
All right, so Luigi, You're looking around to see if there's places you can scurry, make a break for it, effectively, is how I'm interpreting your request.
Not like that when I put it in loud words, but maybe check if there is anything that um, caught my eye, like if they have something that can I repair, make myself
Oh,
useful.
make yourself useful. Right. Okay. Looking
Mm,
for the utility argument as well.
mm.
Make a spot hidden roll, but with a bonus die because it's not hard.
Okay, spot hidden and one bonus die.
Yeah.
Okay, roll.
Oh, I think
Mm,
is that a success? Yes.
Mm, mm.
mm,
That's good
First
success.
success of the game.
mm,
Woo!
mm,
Woohoo! All right. You're desperately looking around for something you can sort of say to them,
mm,
I could fix this for you.
mm,
You can see off to one side is a sort of broken down motorcycle. So they've got one of
mm,
those broken down motorcycles. It's got the sidecar, classic kind of, two Germans riding sort of story. Very, very common for the field gendarmerie. Now, you know that basically there's no fuel in the city, which is probably why it's sitting over there doing nothing. Because Von Paulus didn't. So, so one of the big things going on at the moment is there's not enough fuel to break out, and there's not enough fuel to break in. Um, and the air supplies from the Luftwaffe are not meeting anyone's needs. They're about 1/10 of what they needed to deliver, so which is why it's pretty bad. So yeah, you can see a broken down motorcycle. You can see this broken down motorcycle. You know how to fix motorcycles. It's a doddle for you over in one corner.
Yeah, just talking with them and said my units are useful to fix this for you, and you can take the credit to your supervisor.
Okay. All right. So you've got something. You're actually not terrible at fast talk. You can talk fast when you need to. It's
Mm,
it's kind of the friend of persuade. And probably most appropriate for
mm,
this scene. It's this desperate
mm.
survival kind of thing. Make a fast talk roll for me.
Okay.
Look at you going off.
No, no,
All right. So
yeah.
so Luigi, you hurl out this, I
Mm,
can I can I can be of help. Important question.
mm.
You know that your chance of persuading them to keep you alive is far higher if you don't try and sort of persuade them that they need to keep everyone alive.
Again?
Like
Sorry.
you have a useful skill,
Uh, uh,
the others can't help you fix the motorcycle.
they can just fake it.
Okay, so you are
That,
begging on behalf of the whole group, not just to save
yeah,
yourself. Because you
yeah.
can't, because with that roll you can save yourself. You can walk
No,
off this
uh,
line
uh,
right now.
Now
I
steady on,
will.
Luigi.
I will try. I will try
We're right
to
behind
say
you.
them. Maybe when I spend much time with my Russian mates, um, I quite like. I don't dislike Russians like
That,
I
that's
thought
the
I
spirit.
was.
That's the
Yeah.
spirit.
So yeah, I don't want to be sit alone with Germans. So
I don't want to be stuck with these Germans. The strongest argument for saving people that I've ever heard. All right. Okay. Not the commanding officer, but the NCO sort of pulls you out of the line. You're all still sort of being kept there under gun. Grabs you by the shoulder, walks you away, and says, "I can see that. So you can help us. So I agree, but." The commanding officer, he wants blood. So I tell you what, choose one.
Choose Klaus.
yeah.
Yeah, we all hate Klaus.
Yeah.
No, he's saying choose one to come with you.
Actually, I've been befriending.
Oh, yeah, me. Choose me.
Klaus is the nicest among us, but he's also the most
Uh,
trusting. Let's kill him.
Choose Iliana.
What?
Mm.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
good choice.
No.
After all, we brought her here for the Germans, didn't we?
All right, so you basically point at
Mm.
Ileana, and the NCO looks at her, decides she's the least dangerous of, least offensive of all of the Russians, um, and gestures at Ileana to come over. Ileana, you're being gestured to come over by this German field gendarmerie dude.
I go over, moving closer to Luigi on my way, so that our proximity is really close. And as I pass by this guy who's just pointed at me, I say to him, uh, and I point over and I point at Arcady and say, he's a good shot. And I point at Boris and I say, and he is good at. What are you good at, Boris?
What skill do you have?
What skills do you have, Boris?
Sticking it to his commanding officer.
Yeah.
I'm a good scout.
And I say, and he has eyes. He can see. And we will do what we need for you.
All right, so you're sort of in somewhat halting German, sort of making this argument to
Yeah.
the other
Yeah,
two.
very halting German. Yeah. And I have a very thick Russian accent. What do I need to is it an even roll?
So the skills you normally use for convincing people of things
I'm
in Cthulhu are charm,
I'm
persuade, and
using
fast
I'm using charm
talk.
as I pass by him. So I'm really trying to use yeah. I'm using pure charm with this one.
Okay, make a charm roll for me, please.
Okay.
Okay. The NCO looks at you for a second, and sort of goes and starts to point at Boris, when the commanding officer, the Hutman, storms over to your little group, in effect, sort of pushes himself into this very discreet conversation, and in very rapid fire German, which you do need to make a German roll to understand, because he's now not talking slowly or haltingly, he's talking at great speed, and in a particular, in a southern sort of Bavarian slash dialect of the language. Speaks rapid fire at the NCO for a moment. If you want to make German rolls, you're welcome to do so. Thank you.
No.
I have
Nope.
no German.
Oh, sorry. I thought I should have given you German. My
I have
apologies.
Russian.
Yeah, I meant to give you some German. I'll fix that later.
Okay.
That's okay. All right.
Do you want me just to
We'll
roll
assume
a
you've got
D100?
45 for the sake.
No. I'll just roll a
No,
D100.
we'll assume you've got 45 for now.
I got
Kind of where I've been
51.
angling people for. So you missed it. But
Yeah.
Katie, whose German it turns out is very good, or he particularly has been hanging around with
Excelente.
Bavarians.
It's
Over
the shorts. I love the
yeah,
shorts.
it's the shorts. That's right. It's the Lederhosen. All right, so he rapidly just sort of shouts orders at the NCO. He's basically saying, "What are you doing? We've got our orders. Get them against the wall." Completely unconflicted. The NCO looks at him and says, "These two, they're kind of useful." And he looks at Luigi and Ileana and goes, "Fine, but the Hiwi are against the wall. Like we don't need them anymore, and we don't have the food for them anyway." So the NCO kind of looks regretfully in some ways, sort of
I can find
regretfully.
food. I can find food.
Yep, you're desperately sort of shouting out, I can find food, I can find food. So the scene is now the commanding officer and the NCO are standing with Ileana and Luigi. Um, the NCO sort of reluctantly steps away and shouts a single order at the Phil John's Armory soldiers who level their carbines. Most of them are carrying these shortened versions of the standard German issue rifle. He's carrying an MP40, so the little submachine gunny thing. Um, and the commanding officer's got a machine pistol. So he's got a Luger machine pistol, it's a Mauser machine pistol. As that scene is about to close down upon you, there's a whistling sound in the air, and the entire clearing area of courtyard, whatever it is that you're in, erupts in explosive force as mortar shells and artillery start to slam down in the area that you're in. There's explosions going off. Oh, suddenly I'm being picked up. Explosions going off left, right, and center. Um, you see a chance to make a break for it. Now, you've got a couple of options, so I just need to lay them out for you before you make your choices. You can see a couple of the field gendarmerie literally get hit by these artillery and mortar shells and blown asunder. You're particularly Arcady and Boris are literally lined up against a wall when the explosions start to hit. Obviously, Luigi and Ileana, you're actually further into the open area. You're more exposed than the two Hiwi. Now, you've got a couple of choices. You can just bolt for the hills, in which case it's just literally find shelter and hide. You can actually stick around for a second and try and retrieve some equipment from these Germans who've been hit by the shells, but that comes at a significant risk because it means running around in the open area while explosive shells are falling around you. But you can see they're wearing coats, they've got weapons, they've got possibly some supplies, who knows, but it comes at a cost, right? And well, that's kind of it, really. And you know, you can see the Hutman, and for that matter, the NCO tearing off, like they're not staying in the open to be blown apart. So the NCO sort of shouts in German, you know, cover, 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 and basically starts running off, grabs the Hutman who's like looking enraged at this, you know, sort of moment where he was gonna execute you guys that's been in effect stolen from him. He grabs the Hutman by the shoulder and drags him sort of out into the other side and heads towards more ruins in that direction. Choices, please. What would you like to do?
I'm a scavenger. I'm going to try and see where. Obviously, the coats are blown apart. Maybe the guns that were the people that were hit were thrown in my direction. I'm looking around for what can I scavenge?
Okay, so I need
Just
you
for
to make a
telepathy.
luck roll for me, please.
A luck roll. My luck is 70.
Ooh.
I'm relatively lucky.
You are relatively lucky. Okay. What did I say that would do? Okay, so you take sure there's a way to make that be a half roll, but I'll just halve it once. Oh, wow, that's unlucky. Okay, you get hit by flying shrapnel. It's not terrible. You take 3 hit points of damage. But you can retrieve either. Well, you basically got a choice. You can grab a coat off this kind of dead body. Actually, you know what? That seems a bit silly. So, sure. So you hit up this body. This person's got a sort of machine pistol type Mauser pistol thing. and they've got a great coat, so you can grab both of those items and sort of hair off into the.
Well, if Ben's still sorry, not Ben. If Arcadie's still hanging around like the idiot he is, I will throw the machine pistol to him so that I can devote 2 hands to pulling the coat off this guy.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no, literally my next word was going to be stop mucking about. You've already been hit. Run for cover. We've had this. This is a lucky break. We've got to run as quickly as we can. We can pick up stuff on. This place is full of dead bodies. It's full of ordnance lying around. Let's not stick around to get blown up. Head for the cover. Whichever way the Germans are going, we're going the other way. Come on, everyone. Come on, chaps.
All right. So he's grabbed a pistol, which he throws in your general direction, Arcady.
Thanks for that, by the way.
You
Thanks,
don't
guys.
reject. I assumed you
No,
don't
no,
reject.
I accept it as a gift.
Yeah.
Well, not as a gift as such. I mean,
Watch out, I've got a
do
gun.
each according to their ability is what I say.
Yes, enjoy your Kate.
I think it's this one. This one will do. Is that what I think it is? Yeah, that's it. That'll do. Okay, you can have that one. All right, Arcady has a machine pistol, a submachine gun, effectively. All right, Ileana, Luigi, what do you guys want to do? You've seen Arcady yelling out, just run, head for cover, and you've also seen Boris desperately scrabbling around these bodies, getting sort of in the middle of this explosive thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull Ileana by the arm and leg it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of ushering us both in the direction of Arcady.
Okay. So one greatcoat, one machine pistol later, you all break for as much cover as possible and head as far away from the German forces as you can. You head into, the ruin. Now, it's not that you haven't been here before. You have. But the first thing you realize is, you need to find cover of some description. Obviously, there's artillery dropping. The Russians have obviously decided to, respond to von Paulus's decision not to surrender in a way that suggests surrender would be the right answer to the question. So what do you guys want to do? Like, you can see broken buildings. Now, the one thing you know is there's lots of basements. There is not really a map. Well, this is
Okay,
actually.
no, it's fine. It's just you were moving your cursor about.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm
moving
just
about a map that I can see. That I can't
I'm
see.
just moving my hand.
Right, sorry.
We want a damn map.
I think you should.
There you go. I'll give
should
you a
we be
damn
heading
map.
for the nearest cover? Ooh.
There you go.
Oh,
There's a map. Ask and you will receive.
It's a
no
black
token.
box.
Except I haven't set it up for you guys to be able to see it. Yeah, no, fair. Okay. Okay. I
Big
think that
disappointment.
fixes it. Yeah, look,
the
I get
terrible
it.
fog of war.
There
Oh,
we
wait a minute.
go.
There you go. So you're in this sort of open area. For awareness, there was this location here known as Pavlov's house, which was quite famously fought over in Stalingrad. You're sort of surrounded by broken buildings. You can see this tramway or the remnant of it. It's been mostly run over. I'm pretty sure the 9th of January square is where the dancing girls statue is. If you've ever seen pictures of Stalingrad from that period, the dancing girls is quite a famous scene in the setting, in the reality. Make, what do you want to do? You race off into the darkness. You're heading in this general direction, following the railway line out. The Germans have run
I don't want to be a
towards.
pain, Thomas, but am I meant to be seeing an actual map here? Because I've now got where I had a black square, I've now got a grid of squares, but nothing, no.
Oh, there is a map there.
Oh, why am I not seeing the map?
Oh,
Carry
that's
on,
weird.
Tom.
You can zoom in or zoom out.
It's pretty
No,
small.
I'm zooming in and out.
I think you're zooming in and out in the wrong place. Hold on.
Well, where all the cursors are.
Yeah, you should be able to see it. Maybe it's just taking a while to load on your side.
You are
Maybe,
apparent. You are there.
Oh, now it's
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So they've raced off to this sort of region down here, the south. They've headed towards the south. You guys race off into the either you can run
Opposite.
sort of west along the railway line or run north along the tram line.
Tram
Railway
line?
line west.
Which way do you want to go? I'm following.
Which way are the Germans going? Because we want to go the
South.
opposite direction.
They're going south.
Okay, so we're going to go north.
North.
And look at that. Tulskaya Street would be good because there's lots of buildings there for hiding in, or that could turn into a sniper's alley as well.
There's lots
This-
of ruins, but actually,
There's lots of ruins.
can
So
I see any ruins that might hold a basement? Looking at the
Yes.
architecture hereabouts.
So can you make either what did I say it was? I wrote this down. Here we are. Survival, spot hidden, natural world. Roll for me, please.
Okay.
So if you're making the roll,
natural world, I'm not so good at. Survival, where is survival?
just after spot hidden.
I've got stealth, swim, and track. I don't have stealth.
No, I have stealth after spot hidden, but whatever.
I said just after.
Oh.
Bloody
Wow.
hell.
Wow.
My spot hidden is 71, and
Oh.
All right, you do see a of course. You see one of the buildings has a little, has a entry to a basement. But as you're approaching it, you can see that there's movement in there, as in there might be people hiding inside that basement. You don't know what kind of people.
it is a basement, however.
Plus,
Can
I've
I
got a gun.
Can I try to spot hidden?
So to find a different basement or to look at what's going on in the basement?
To look at
Or we could listen. I could
what's going
listen.
on in the basement, because I'm very suspicious.
Yes, you can. So you get closer.
Yep.
So you can make a bit more detail.
Yep.
Okay.
And what do I see?
Look at that. All right, so you can see there's a couple of German soldiers in there. Now, important point, you know, Hiwis are floating around all over the shop, so it's not like do you know what I mean? Like you aren't instantly going to be assumed to be like a problem. The field gendarmerie, there's no reason to assume they're talking to anyone else.
I
could always say room for one more inside.
And I point out who's down there.
Okay, so Katie, do you want to yell out, is there room for more of us inside, as the shells are falling down?
Yeah, I am doing that. I'm not quite sure what that would.
No, it's just
I'm
you yell it
supposed to be
out. Don't worry, it's not a skill roll.
yeah.
You can just yell it out.
Yeah, I'm yelling out in my best German, because my German is pretty good, and using my sort of most officery voice. Room for more inside, chaps.
And you hear this yell out, this voice in German yell out, yes, come in, quick, get in.
God, I love the Germans.
Love the Germans.
So let's pile in.
All right, so you all pile in. There's about 4 German soldiers in here. They're not like everyone else. They're not wearing anything particularly warm, but they have managed to find some wood. So there's a small fire going on inside this space, which is warming it up. 3 of them are sort of sitting around. The guy who's gestured you in is sort of standing there, gesturing in, come in, quick, get out of that. And sort of, as you all step in, and does anyone not step in? Important, I should ask, question.
No, I have no options. Let's step in.
I mean, it
Step
is
in.
Cthulhu. I don't want to lie to anyone.
I'm slightly hanging back. I am stepping in, but I'm at the back of the group now and fingering
now
my
you say
knife
that.
in my greatcoat pocket. I've
All right,
noticed a lack of greatcoats here, and that concerns me.
Yeah, and they're all sort of huddling around this fire. I mean, they've got coats, but they're not winter coats. They're just coats, right? They're like, because the whole background of this is that the German High Command was so convinced they'd just take out all of, sort of Russia, that they didn't equip their troops with proper winter clothing. It was just assumed they wouldn't be fighting in winter because they would be victorious and all sitting around in
Just
Moscow
bikinis.
drinking vodka and celebrating their victory. And by the time it became apparent that they weren't going to pull that off, the Luftwaffe was delivering 1/10 of the supplies that it had said it would deliver. So they slam. So this guy slams the sort of the sort of makeshift door that they've created to cover the space that you guys saw from the outside, and gestures in and sort of sit around the fire. It's cold, and you can see the soldiers are all sort of sitting there in this basement, sort of sitting around the fire, and you can smell the smell of cooking meat.
I would imagine it's been a while since we've eaten.
Yep.
I ask, do you
I love the way
have
your face has responded to that statement, by the way. It was everything.
do you have
Just
enough to
everything.
share? Do you have enough to share?
That was my cat outside the door
Yeah, we do now.
complaining about. There's yes, we've been able to find enough for everyone.
Guess he's coming to dinner.
Gestures, sort of, and there's this pot cooking over the fire, sort of boiling away, with this, the scent of cooking meat coming off it.
Yeah.
Sit. Okay, so they're all sitting around. Are you guys sitting down with them?
I'm not
yeah.
sitting.
You're not sitting, you're standing slightly back from them?
Yeah.
Have we seen these soldiers before in the camp, or
have you seen these soldiers before?
do we recognize them?
Do we recognize their uniforms?
Oh,
And
yeah.
their insignias and
They're
stuff.
like,
Yeah.
they're definitely, soldiers from the area.
Okay.
But
Are they
they're
like
not.
SS or?
No, as a matter of fact, and this might be surprising, there are no SS active in this part of the war.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, SS presence on the Eastern Front is surprisingly low.
Okay.
As in SS military units.
So there's nothing
there are less good things that the SS are doing in the background, but actual like Death Head Commando type shows are less active. I think there's one Danish SS unit that's active on the Eastern Front at this point, but
are they outsourcing it a bit as well? So they're looking for local talent.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact,
things.
One of the, without wanting to reference current conflicts, one of the Russian arguments literally is that Ukrainian volunteer forces fought with the fascists in World War II.
I'm kind of, once again, I'm following Luigi's lead. If Luigi sits, I'll sit. If Luigi stands back, I'll stand back.
Yeah, I'm sitting, but not close to them. Maybe close to the fire, because I guess I don't have the proper winter clothes and I am freezing my buttocks.
Yep.
So,
all of you, anyone who sits is sitting with them. There's no second row of seating here. There's like seating around the fire.
I'm at the top table.
Not seating around the fire.
I'm sitting down there as well, and but I do have because I want to show fellow feeling, and they have let us in, and there's no reason to suspect anything at the moment. And plus, they've got some delicious looking meat, and they're being friendly. But I obviously, because I'm a Russian and they're Germans, I've got a gun. I'm cradling that gun out of the way, but I would be able to access it quickly in a pinch.
Okay, so you basically got your hand under your coat.
Yeah, but in a way that makes it look like I'm cold or potentially injured, but actually I'm actually packing heat.
Sure.
So, but they don't know that.
Okay, so you're sitting around the fire, they're looking at you, you're looking at them. One of them reaches over and is sort of stirring the pot every now and then. Heavy rain today, one of them says in a sort of somewhat humorous voice. Um, Best to stay out of the hail. Now, uh, we'll have to get you guys some bowls. And one of the other guys gets up. One thing you note, so this basement has a sort of hole in the back. Obviously, they've dug through or something like that so they can go further. He reaches over and starts gathering up a couple of bowls. The other guys are like, sort of leaning forward at this point, all very excited, and starts dishing out this kind of stew that they've made out of the bowls, and starts passing it around. First of all, to the three other Germans, and then offers probably Luigi, I guess, for just by dint of Luigi volunteering to sit around the fire and stay warm.
Luigi
Notably,
and Iliana.
Iliana.
Did whatever Luigi did.
How does it smell?
Smells delicious.
Yeah,
Like it
probably
does. Like
haven't.
you guys haven't eaten meat for days. And what you have eaten is half rotting, salted sort of food, right? So it smells delicious. There's no debate about
Does it
that.
smell like cooked pork?
Well, it's a funny question.
Yum,
Is
yum,
is
yum.
Boris the sort of person? Well, Boris is actually particularly aware of pork, I guess. Oh no, hold on, I'm getting my religions mixed up. That's terrible. But you've eaten a lot of pork in your time, Boris. I think that's a fair assumption. Eastern European food being what it is. Does it smell like? Yes, it does, Boris. It's a funny question you should ask. It does smell a lot like cooked pork.
Now, obviously,
We all know what's going on.
I love pork.
Okay.
I
Yum,
don't. I
I'm
have
starving.
absolutely no clue. I just think, where did they get pork?
Pork.
I think
Yeah,
in all
Any bacon?
fairness,
Yeah, bacon anywhere.
to be clear,
Yeah.
you guys have been in Stalingrad, most of you for a year. You explicitly know what pork means. Like, you don't have to kid yourselves. You've all been starving in this city for a long time. Like, this is not the first time you've encountered this experience. Like, without a doubt, this is not the first time. And I don't mean that I mean in a quite mechanical way, right? Like, people are starving in the streets. And
At least it's not rat. Sick of rat.
At least it's not rat. Exactly.
yeah,
It's not
that
rat,
might have been better.
and it's not dog.
Bit chicken.
Yeah, dog.
Nobody
So
here
stringy.
knows that I'm a Jew, though. Of course, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. I don't know actually how that applies.
Look, I think it's fair to say, broadly speaking, your understanding of your religion would be eating people not okay.
Yeah, I think most religions would say that.
Yeah, it's not a complicated question.
But it's a matter. But at the moment, it's a matter of survival, right? Like it's
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm kind of torn here. But anyway, I'm the last person to be served, and I'm hesitating because I think it over.
So, as a character, we know that this is not
You are
pork.
pretty confident that, barring an amazing series of happenstance, which is not impossible but highly unlikely, That the most likely scenario is this is people. Yes, that this
Yeah.
this is a person you are eating, or possibly
Long
persons.
pork, delicious.
Long pork, indeed.
So,
Mhm.
I guess Luigi have seen enough horrors that he don't want to participate in additional horrors. He want to keep his sanity, so he's politely declining. But
More for me.
yeah, his stomach is growling.
Yeah, it is because you are
Yeah,
starving, right?
yeah, he will probably. He,
I'm yeah,
mm,
I'm gonna ask is this recipe Russian or is this recipe German?
One of the soldiers looks at you for a moment and laughs like you've made a joke. Like
Maybe
And
it's a
just,
melange.
I kind of
you know,
laugh as well, but I'm expecting an answer. And I'm
uh,
absolutely looking as much as I can as a guy. So
uh, finest Bavarian pork, my friend. Finest Bavarian pork.
pass me a bowl.
mm,
Okay, passes you the bowl.
And I'll eat.
Okay. Arcady?
Yeah, I'll have Luigi's as well, but Luigi could have my salad, so I'm not really I'm not
Okay,
that
so
hungry.
Luigi, you're passing. So Arcady reaches
The garlic
over
bread.
and takes the bowl from your hands, noting
mm.
your hesitation. Uh, and starts eating. Boris, what about you, buddy?
I can't eat this. I'm starving.
Mm.
But I can't eat this.
Okay, so two of you are hoeing into this.
Mm.
The Germans are like eating it as well. You're all, there's this genuine feeling of camaraderie amongst the Germans and yourselves, Katie and Ileana. Um, Luigi and Boris, you're sort of either sitting or
Mm.
standing slightly outside of this kind of genuine sort of, how delicious is this? Thank God we found it kind of movement. Um, the Germans
I am
are,
Ah,
Luigi. I've still got the bowl. I'm not
mm,
you're
obviously
just not,
I
eating.
mm,
I'm
you're
gonna
just not
try
spooning it into your mouth.
as
Part of
I'm
me, my animal brain really wants to eat this, but my brain can't. So I'm just standing there holding it. I think.
I I've
Warming
seen
your hands.
I've seen so many
Sure.
horrors that I'm not uh I would not eat I would not eat a Russian meal, but I'm
mm.
there
No, I was
saying
guessing. Yeah.
I'm there saying to Boris and Luigi, uh, you must eat. You need your strength. I need your strength. You need to eat. And so I'm trying to convince them on behalf of all of us. They need to eat for us as a group.
Uh, is there some sort of empathy role that I can do
Do you
it
want me to
if I
try to
feel more
charm them?
empathy?
No, I think this is explicitly just player choice.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I've just eaten Luigi's bowl, so I don't know what we're arguing
Yeah.
about.
Well,
Yeah.
you give
Yeah.
him another
Yeah.
bowl.
Yeah. I'm keeping.
That's true. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's enough to go around.
Yeah. I miss my nonna. I will not eat this.
Okay, so Luigi just
Mm,
continues to refuse to eat it. Boris,
mm,
I am going to. Who looks the hungriest of this group? Either the
oh
most
the
wasted or the most greedy.
Me.
yeah the one of
Apart
the
from
Germans
Arcady.
is I guess for want of better language exceptionally animated about the meal.
Ah, right. So seeing that, I'm going to say with good nature and grace, I said, "Wow, this smells delicious, but I had a really good meal only 3 days ago. So so I'm still kind of full. You can have mine." So,
Well, he looks at you and goes, "Your loss, but thank you all the same, and grabs the bowl off you and sort of hoes into the second bowl as with as much gusto as the first. Um, Make a psychology roll for me, Boris. When you do that.
Psychology. I can actually do that a bit. I mean, not that the dice rolls are going to prove it.
Hmm.
Oh, no, I can. I do.
Turns out you can. Yeah, so he's slightly off. He's more than a little off-putting. There's something just not right about that guy. Like he's not just seeing this as something you eat to survive. He's explicitly
Relishing.
enjoying this, right? Like he's really into it.
Just checking my Cthulhu. I have no idea. He's just an off-putting fucking German.
He's just sort of putting German. That's right. No. Any external insights should be maintained as they are. Any Cthulhu knowledge, that is.
Could I ask? This is not Cthulhu knowledge exactly, but
Yeah.
I'm actually getting a bit full now. I'm not full, but I've had a few tastes and it's delicious. Exactly. I've had 2 portions, yeah. And I'm sort of looking around, and I've noticed the hole again, the kind of tunnel.
Yep.
And I because we're all getting on so well, and because I don't particularly, I don't stay here all. We're not going to stay here all day. We probably need to move on. And if we could move on through the tunnel rather than, if they've got like a system of tunnels or something, it might be good if we, if I could ask them what's in that tunnel, matey. But with a not because I'm being nosy, just because I'd like to know so that we could move on in a safe way rather than going up and risk being.
He just answers
again.
you. He goes, "Of course, that's what they're for." We've dug them out so that we can, sort of move around a couple of buildings without, sort of getting done from on top.
Okay, so after this, we could just toddle off and, we could keep going after this and use the tunnels. Is that right?
Absolutely.
As I'm asking him, yeah.
No, he's like, yes, of course, that's what we do. We move around through the tunnels and, we do, lets us, sort of, we've got a couple of buildings and we can get around between them. It confuses, people who want to attack us. It's great.
Okay. Well, I mean,
when
could we?
Schmidt gave us our orders, he didn't mention this network of tunnels. I say to Arcady.
Who gave us the orders?
Now, I will make the point, of course, you guys can talk in Russian. So if you, so just.
But I was saying this in German, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know no Russian, by the way. So
sort of turn to my new friend, as it were, and say, are these tunnels official? With a bit of a nod and a wink.
Of course not. I mean, the high command's a bunch of idiots. They'd have us running around on
that. We could all agree.
They'd have us running around on top of the ground all over the shop. But we've been working at these tunnels, and luckily, oh shit, what's his name? Oh no, it is this one. What's his name? Luckily, Frederick, and he points to the one who was eating with significant gusto. Frederick's got a great. Oh, you're talking to Frederick himself, right? Frederick Gusto Eater. Frederick's like, oh yes, yes, I've got a good nose for where we need to dig, so we've been pretty successful.
How many are in that hole? How many beyond?
We've broken into 3 other basements.
No, people. How many people? How many soldiers?
Oh, none.
Just you?
No,
you're the only soldiers.
It's just us. Just us.
So how many are there? how many do we like? How many are we eating with?
4. There's
Okay, so it's the same number as us. Okay.
Yeah. They are better armed than you, though. You know, they've got proper knives. You can see, you know, one of them's got a pistol. The others have got rifles, although granted they're not sort of right next to them, but they're within easy reach. They're obviously like they're prepared for violence because the expectation is they could be fighting at any point. So they're not like guns all the way over there, that sort of thing. They're right next to them.
Because
But
we're not
yeah,
eating. We're not eating anymore. I mean, like
No.
by this stage, like
no. You've
anyone
stopped.
that's eating has had enough. You know, much as I've enjoyed eating the food and, you know, spending time in the warmth and being away from, you know, the bombs falling, I do think we should get along. We don't like there's still 4 Germans and we're stuck in a room with them, and the only way out is through a tunnel. And, you know, we don't know them at all. So I'm going to be like
Other than their
looking.
very generous sharing of their food, like
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
of course. I mean, and if only there was a way that we could, you know, we could show our gratitude, and you know, if the sooner we get out there and start scavenging, the sooner we can. This is for them. Obviously, I don't think we're coming back. The sooner we can start scavenging, the sooner we can bring things back that will be of use to these guys, and you know, therefore, I think looking around at all my comrades, it's probably time that we, you know, we don't want to take up any more of your time and your heat and your generous food. We'll say goodbye. We'll use your tunnels. You've said that we could use the tunnels, so you know, we'll use the tunnels. We'll go out. We'll have a bit of a scavenger around. We'll see what's what, and we'll bring back information, and we'll bring back anything that we can find as a payment for your very generous, you know, letting us sit here with you and the food, of course. So, and I'm kind of looking at everyone else, kind of going, it's time we should go.
Absolutely, I
hope
nod
everyone agrees.
agreement.
Good.
And I might explain to Frederick, is it? My new friend, that we are actually, shall we say, a supply unit. That was our job in the auxiliary. So
well, I mean,
we can find stuff.
of course. Are you sure you don't like? He looks at you for a second. You get the distinct sense he's trying to read you. Would you
look in my eyes and trying to read me?
Yeah, he's desperately trying to get a read of you.
Luckily, I don't know myself, so I don't think he knows me.
Yeah. He looks at you for a second and goes,
through all the different people I've been over in the last 6 years, and all the different roles I've played.
And go, I'm going to stick with not being known. If you need, look, we can help you. You could help us.
That's what we're offering, to help you.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. We'll bring back help.
We can find.
Yeah.
If you find, but we're all comrades now. We've all eaten together.
Yes, comrade.
Yes, come on.
He sort of says out loud. And he's saying it and then he kind of whispers to you in pretty decent Russian. Slightly accented, but pretty decent Russian. And that's pretty uncommon. Most of the German soldiers do not bother to learn Russian. They get other people to learn German. Here's the method of management. But he whispers to you in pretty decent Russian. Goes, we are all brothers under the great provider.
Oh,
I couldn't put it better myself. Yeah, definitely the great provider,
Joseph Stalin.
And do you say that?
No. Yes, absolutely. The
Well,
great
no, no. So
provider.
he's whispering this to Boris because he's actually
Oh,
speaking
to
in
Boris,
Russian,
okay.
which he's in a room
Yeah,
full
yeah.
of Germans, and he's whispering in Russian about we're all brothers together under the great provider. Um, so my
And the
question
other,
was, Matt, do you
Right,
actually
okay.
say, of course, Joseph Stalin?
No, I don't say Jason. I was putting words in Arcadie's mouth. If you're saying it to me, I will simply put my hand on his shoulder, give him a little squeeze of understanding, and say, "Yes, brother." I have no idea who the great provider is, but I will be whatever anybody wants me to be or let me live.
Excellent. Go now, and I will find you later.
Oh, that doesn't fill me with confidence.
oh, that sounds better than I thought. What was going to happen? I thought, yeah. I don't mind going
Come on,
now.
salvage
That is
team, then.
absolutely
I'm
fine.
going to kind of take leadership thing since I have a special relationship with our new German friend. I
Okay.
roused everybody. Let's get out of here as quick as we can. They will find us later. And head down the.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Danke,
hold
danke,
on. How
danke.
dark is it down this tunnel?
Yeah, I hope they.
Dankeschön.
Hold on, what was that about the tunnel?
How dark is it?
Pretty bloody dark. There's no
I say,
lighting.
I turn back a moment. I say, brother, you don't have a torch to light our way, do you?
Oh,
What
good
of the
question.
provider?
Sorry. Yes, you'll need a torch.
Or a 10-foot stick.
Hold on a second. And he sort of gestures to one of the other three German soldiers and says, Hans, give me your torch. And Hans kind of just meekly gives it over to Frederick, who then passes you a torch.
And I just quickly check it. How?
It's a bit weak, but there's light coming out of it.
Cool. I'll hand it over to Luigi.
Over friendly Germans. I say it in Italian.
Yeah.
The one language no one else can
Nobody
speak.
understands.
Literally no one else in the room.
I'm going to head off, hoping that Luigi's following with the torch.
Does
I just think that Luigi can make anything last longer than
Yeah.
All right,
Does-
so you.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
just
go.
want to know. Like, I'm looking around. I'm first of all, I'm extremely suspicious of Germans, and so I realize the value of light and of resources. This is not an overly resourceful area, and so how many other of these soldiers have light? Like does everybody have a torch, or is this kind of like something where they're giving us something that is of overvalue? Like,
I
this
reckon
doesn't
that's
make sense.
either a psychology or a spot hidden roll. Your choice. I'm pretty sure you're a spot hidden person.
Spot hidden.
Yeah. Ooh, yes,
Oh
that
my
that would be
goodness!
that would be an extreme success. The 3 stars indicating that. So yeah, that's the only torch they have. Like, you take one look and they've just given up their only light source to you. And you also notice something else. Frederick is the lowest ranked according to the little things on his, the tabs on his shoulders. Like, the whole hierarchy of this room is wrong. And there's one thing you know about the Germans, and you know it really well. They're all about hierarchy. So, like, he's just effectively given an order to a more senior member of the team, and that person's then given up the only light source they have to a bunch of German refugees. Russian refugees.
And do they all look? I mean, like when we were looking at them, we were very, very close to them.
Yeah.
And we're still very close to them. We haven't got into
You
them. There's nothing wonky about them, or they don't like when they were smiling, they didn't have an unusually long
Too big to eat.
incisors, or or they,
Well, somebody
that
somebody particularly liked slopping down.
Oh, that was Frederick, the guy that
yeah.
just gave the.
Yeah, and he was taking
He is.
absolute
He's a
delight.
little off-putting. He does just give you the vibe of being off-putting.
And Arcady has received this torch, right?
Luigi.
No, I got the torch.
Boris got it.
Luigi.
Luigi's now got it.
I'm going to look to Luigi and look back to them, and I'm going to say, no need. No need. You keep. We stick by window.
No,
Luigi.
no, says Frederick in German. No. It's fine. We've got the fire. We're warm, aren't we, guys? And the other three nod furiously as he says that, and sort of, are looking hungrily back into the pot, keen to sort of get back to another bowl of delicious goodness. You've got the torch. Luigi and Boris are already heading out the door when you've kind of put all of this together in your head.
Down the tunnel.
Down the tunnel, yes, sorry, down the tunnel.
Where's Boris?
I guess, in the lead down the tunnel.
Okay, so
as long as
all right.
Luigi's following me with the torch.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I just kind of shake my head, and I go dunka, and I leave, but I'm very uneasy.
And
come on,
I'm
Ileana.
the last one to leave,
And
so
Yeah,
I'm
come on,
patting
Ileana.
you on the back.
is
And
there
don't
come on,
overthink it.
is there anything that I may be able to swipe on my way out? Like any type
There's a
of.
heap of
I'm
things
looking
you
for
might
a
be able to
weapon.
swipe.
I'm looking at grabbing a weapon.
Okay. Spot hidden, then stealth.
Okay, so spot hidden first.
Oh, actually, you made a great success.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah,
I was thinking sleight of hand.
Sorry, sleight of hand. Yes. No, you're right. Sorry, sleight of hand. Yep. You're really good at stealing stuff. I've remembered that about you now. Specifically set up Ileana to be the person who reaches into people's pockets and take stuff away when they leave.
There you go. I aim to please.
Thank you.
Channeling the Hobbit.
What? Actually, you don't see any weapons, but what you see as you're sort of leaving and just kind of piled in a corner are a couple of cans of actual rations.
Okay. Absolutely.
So it was their choice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there's just a couple of cans of actual rations just kind of lying there on the ground, sort of ignored in the corner.
So I'm adding all of this up, and as we're leaving,
and
I'm looking
coming up trumps.
I'm looking back, and I'm saying to who's behind me now? Is it Arcady?
Arcady's behind you.
Yeah. So
I'm
I say to
following up the rear.
as we're kind of into the tunnel, I say, this is not right. This is not right at all.
Did you nick the?
It wasn't right the moment we came in here. If I can hear you.
And then I give him a can. I shove the other one in my pocket.
Give who a can? Arcady.
Arcady, yeah.
He's eaten already.
Yeah, I know, but I'm quite a hungry boy.
He's a big guy.
And I say, you're right. Right. There's nothing right about what was happening in that room, but this whole crazy city, this whole crazy war is just madness. So don't overthink it. We're out of here now. We've got a torch. We've got supplies. We've warmed each other. We have warmed up, and we can escape without having to go up into the dangerous outside. Well, for a while anyway.
No.
So I think we've.
We are safer outside in the hail than we are in these tunnels. We need to get out of these tunnels as fast
well, I
as
wasn't thinking of
possible.
staying in the tunnels.
Get out
Okay,
of
well,
this
why don't
tunnel
we
means going past those Germans again. And I think I agree with our lieutenant here. Let's find another way out through these tunnels. He said they go to 2 or 3 different buildings.
Yes.
But we
yes.
can get. Let's not go back the other way.
No,
Yeah,
we're
Luigi,
not going back.
Luigi is yelling, "Come on!" before they have a craving for prosciutto.
And I laugh. I laugh at that.
Right, so you push on down through this tunnel, which is actually more of a sewer. Like they've broken into a sewer, so the sewer's connecting to a bunch of buildings, and then they've broken out of that into these other basements. You move down through the sewer system, and I mean, you can basically just exit wherever you want to exit. So the first do you exit in the first exit? Like, I guess it's as simple as that. Like, or at least check it out. I assume.
Why don't we
What
check?
street level are we talking about, or are we talking about going into one of the other basements?
It'll drop you. The thing doesn't exit into the street. It exits into other basements.
So we're looking, I believe, gentlemen, madam, comrades is what I should be saying. We are looking, comrades, for a ladder. Am I right?
Yeah.
Or a stairway, one of these basements.
Oh, can we not? Is there just not like I mean, well, if we go into a basement, wouldn't there just? It's how high is the basement? Wouldn't we just be able to push the, the opening?
We're not looking to explore this like it's some weird dungeon fantasy. We just want to get out of these tunnels, far away from the Germans as possible. I'm assuming.
I mean, yeah, and all of these buildings, I mean, like what we're seeing is as kind of rectangular buildings. These are all shells, like for the most part. So they've been blown to crap, and there's hardly anything left in the city anyway. And so getting out is kind of like a big challenge. We may just have to kind of go over concrete to get out onto the street. But this is bad news.
That's okay. So first exit then. The first basement, other basement that doesn't have cannibal Germans in it.
And at least we could just look out, even if
it's not a big ask, he says.
Yeah, we just don't want to have any cannibal Germans.
We just don't want to have any cannibal Germans. Okay, who do you want to make your survival natural world roll, please? I will just. You might want to.
There is no survival skill. I've sent you a little picture in the planning chat to prove it. My natural world is 10. Somebody else has got to be a better survivor than me.
Oh,
I'm
35.
I'm
30. I'm not
35.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, 35.
Wow. Okay, sorry. That's weird. Are you the only one without survival skill? I hope so.
No, I have no.
I don't have it.
No survival skill.
No.
I literally put it in for all your sheets. It's
unless it's
okay.
in combat,
I remember filling in survival for every character. That's really annoying. That's really fucking annoying. Okay.
I'm looking, but I can't see it anywhere.
I've got survival steps, swim, and track.
Yeah. So
wait.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, where?
So survival steps. So are we on the steps? We're not really in this.
No, and Ileana's meant to have survival urban, and she doesn't have survival as a skill. That's absolutely true. Most of the character sheets do not have the skill survival.
Okay, all right, good.
But also, you were not wrong.
Okay, then. Arcady, you're the one that's going to roll a survival skill for us.
Or you can roll natural world if you have better natural world.
Yeah,
my natural world is 35.
I'm pretty sure Arcady is both of those things.
No, I've got swim, track. So if I'm doing the Olympics, I'm all right. But steps, I suppose I could just use steps because that's high.
Yeah.
Yeah, should I do that?
I've dropped.
Stalingrad is like
I got
steps,
it.
But with the few.
I just dropped it on your sheet, and I'm just going to give you. I'm just putting in what I intended to give you.
I see it. It's
I
there.
don't know what happened there. All right, you now have Survival Street.
Yep. I'm 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still
no.
don't have survival, am I right?
Yeah, you still don't, but I'm fixing that now.
Okay.
Yeah, same here as well.
Dido, you have 45?
I don't have survival.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Hold on, I'll be right back while you're doing that.
Boris has survival now. And then there's Luigi, whose survival skill will disappoint Boris. Luigi does have survival. It's just really, really, really not going to get a lot of value.
Swim.
Right above
But we are in
swim
sewers.
is
We are in sewers.
is your
I can swim.
survival, which is of course survival C, because Luigi likes boats and cars and planes. Luigi likes everything that moves. I think that's now given everyone survival skill, except of course for Klaus, who you're not playing, so it's less relevant.
So I've got survival street specialism.
Yeah.
Ben has got, sorry, Arcadia's got
Survival steps.
Swim and track. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's get to
Luigi's
the
got
steps.
survival C,
Iliana.
and Iliana's got survival street as well.
And what number?
45. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good.
Luigi, you've got survival C.
C, yeah. And swim.
And what's the contents you're asking us to make the survival roll?
Well, survival street would be good as a small side note.
Yeah, Iliana. It's Iliana. It's got to be Iliana, isn't it?
Well,
okay. Just to move us.
Oh, unless I know Boris got.
How about one of you assist? How about we do the good old fashioned one of you assist the other and they get a bonus die?
Yeah.
Right, Iliana, you go. Because then I can blame you for the shitty roll.
Absolutely.
And I will help in some way with a bonus dice.
All right. So a bonus dice it's a +1, right? In this.
Yeah, you just flip it over to +1 in the dice rolling mechanic. Yep, that's correct.
There we go.
Okay.
Quite good enough. You can spend 3 points of luck and make that a success.
Yeah, I will indeed.
You need more than 3.
Already,
it's already a success. 28's a success.
I
if
need
you want it to be
6.
A great success.
25. You got 45 survival.
Yeah. Yeah, Iliana's a street rat.
So if
25.
So if I want it to be a great success, I need a 22. So I would spend 6, and I'm going to spend 6 luck.
Okay.
So I'm just going to mark that down 6. I will go down to 49 with my luck. Done. And does that mean that I get a check mark next to it?
It does.
Okay.
Not that we're
not that it matters, but just so that I know.
Yep.
Oh, it doesn't let
me.
me.
When you at the end of the adventure, you roll against all of the skills that have a check mark, and if you exceed that skill with the roll, it goes up.
Yeah. Okay.
So it gets harder to improve skills as they go up, by dint of that rolling mechanic.
Okay.
So yes. All right. So you find you come out. So Iliana's kind of leading you. You find this hole in the wall. You pop out, and you're looking at this abandoned scene. So there were obviously people in here at one point, and you can tell that because whilst there are no weapons, there are a couple of greatcoats in here. There's a very small sort of pile of supplies that have obviously just been knocked over and just lying in a corner. It's not dissimilar to the scene you just left, except there are no people in it. It's clearly been used at some point, but it's now empty. There's a definitive sense that that there was a fire sort of somewhere in here. And there is an exit. There's clearly an exit, but the whole space is empty of people, but it looks like there would have been people in here at some
And
point.
How long
So
ago?
do you
Where
say?
the fire
Oh.
is it warm?
It is not
People have
warm,
touched-
but
is
it doesn't take long for things to get very cold.
uh,
So that doesn't
would
tell you a lot.
we know that these soldiers would have traveled this way, and so are these jackets or coats that they would have been able to use to make them warmer? Like, is this
Uh,
something that they're kind of that
They're
they've
going to make,
almost?
well, you're looking at them with the distinct impression they're going to make you warmer. So,
Well,
you can
yeah,
make that.
yeah. So, but I'm putting
You
them
can defer
on.
that.
I'm going to grab one for sure, and I'm
Both on.
pointing to everybody, but I'm thinking out loud and saying to everybody, why are they underdressed? Why didn't they take these coats? They gave us their only light source. This is not right. We have to watch our backs, or we'll become stew.
Yeah, I've been
We will
watching
watch.
our back. I agree
I'm at the back.
entirely
Yeah.
on that. I mean, quite apart from the fact that they're Germans and they will hunt us down and eat us given half a chance. But
Well,
yeah,
they're
they
gonna
are
see
not
you
only
again.
Germans, they are weird Germans.
Yeah, but they've obviously made some sort of connection with you. So it didn't seem to be, even though that was weird, and they've been offering us, their comrades. It sounded more like in the future we were going to see them again, or they were going to call for us, or some. It didn't. I don't get a sense of present danger in that sense, but I do think. Yeah, when I look around, is there any sign of a scuffle or is there
Okay.
any?
Make a track roll, please.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, nice. Ooh, you can.
Yeah, can I that was really close.
Spend 6 points. Luck.
Do
Yeah,
it.
okay. Yeah, shall I do that? Why not? I think I've got 45 luck.
So I don't know if I'm right because I can't do this to your rolls, but you should be able to right click on the roll and just choose to spend luck. Oh, no,
Okay.
you click on the little marker, like the little red marker you've got, and you'll
Yeah.
see that opens up to push,
Yes.
spend 6 luck. So if you want to spend 6 luck to pass, you
Oh.
just click this spend 6 luck to pass, and it will
Okay.
automatically deduct the luck and give you a success.
Okay.
So I've got the little eye, the little information thing, is it?
It's no,
Detail.
it's the little red. It's that bar with the red marker on it that indicates that you
The
failed.
little dot. That
The
says-
So it's
The
just
bug.
like the stars or the dots, yeah.
Bug.
Left click on it
The
on your mouse.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
Let's-
left click, yes. And it opens up
Okay.
as a drop down and you get all of the choices you can make.
Oh, here you go. Yeah. It's pretty clever. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's actually a really nice
spend-
implementation. The
That is
Cthulhu
nice.
implementation on Foundry is pretty damn fine.
Hmm.
Which is not a huge surprise because it's probably, arguably, the second most popular role-playing system on the planet. So
Oh, good. Because I've got Foundry and I've got the starter set, which I might try and break out at some stage. Just 'cause
yeah,
looks
it's
fun.
way look, as an opinion, I think Foundry craps all over Roll20. But if you just want character sheets, though, that's a debatable point. Because if you just want a character sheet, Roll20 works just fine.
Fair enough.
But it comes
I
with
think
less
I've got it in
bells and
that as
whistles.
well, maybe. Anyway,
All right.
so I'll spend my 6 luck to pass. Although,
And
okay,
yeah,
cool. And
there you go.
did it took the luck down automatically as well? Did it?
Yeah, it'll have deducted it automatically from your sheet.
Nice. Okay, so I am a success.
Okay, so you check around on the floor, and yes, you think that there's been a scuffle here. Not a long one by the looks of it. Looks like some people were pretty aggressively caught by surprise. But yes, there's definitely been a scuffle. And in the searching of the room, since you guys are now putting a lot more effort into searching the room, sort of painted, splattered, depending on your point of view, in
Mhm.
red across the wall, are the words in Russian,
Another
all
Russian.
praise the great provider who gives us
That's what
the
he said to
gift
me.
of food and the gift of life.
Brothers under the great provider, he said.
The great provider.
This is not Stalin.
In this case, I don't think that's Uncle Joe.
No.
No.
So
I
Probably-
am
probably
getting the
it is
impression
a
we should
title that is used to
maybe-
describe Stalin.
Yeah, I don't know how high does this go? Follow the money.
Mm.
I am getting a distinct impression that Boris was right. We should get out of these rat holes. Nobody wants to end up in a pot. I don't care who the great provider is, but he sounds pretty awful. Well, I don't know. I don't want to turn into a creepy great provider whisper either. So, can we get out of here and take our, you know, see whether or not we can get any luck on the streets?
So you step out.
Mm.
So assumably you grab the greatcoats,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do.
and
Actually, I
assumably you
think
grab the
if I could
supplies that
get
have
away
just
with
been
this,
left here.
could I take the better of the great coats and give somebody my slightly mortar blasted one?
By all means, because these are Russian sort of quality coats, not German quality coats. So
Mm.
you're sort
Oh,
of like,
right. Okay.
they're actually pretty decently warm. Like they're the kind of, sort of long woolen coats that the Russians have been equipped with, which are significantly improved over a significant improvement over any German coat at this point. So you quickly jam on the coats, grab what supplies there are lying around, and with the name of the great provider hanging as an unknown in your head, open up the door into the sort of late evening silence of Stalingrad, because it's not like, so the shelling has stopped some time ago. You've now spent hours sort of zipping around
And eating human flesh.
and eating
I'm
people.
asking, I'm asking them, should we close the door behind us? The door that we went
Would it be
in, lock it?
polite to just
Yeah. You're trying to let all the heat out.
yeah?
And there's
I have a sneaking
and the
suspicion
cannibals.
Mm.
the door is not going to stop Frederick. But yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't, yeah.
No, I think close the door though. I don't care. I want to close the door. It's creepy.
All right, so you head out into the dark, and obviously, need to find somewhere to sort of make make some sort of accommodation, because wandering around in the dark in winter in Stalingrad, greatcoat or not, is a surefire way to die of hypothermia.
I'm familiar with the area. Am I not?
Yep, you are. Absolutely, you are.
So we're heading north. That is my understanding along Toskaya.
Well, you can now take some, you sort of popped up somewhere, because remember, you've traveled through some tunnels, and
Okay.
you've kind of come out going, okay, it's dark. I'm surrounded by ruins in a shell shock city. Oh my God, you guys. Anyway, random encounter roll is quite hilarious. You come out and you can. You guys will get tightly sus on food. But you come out and the first thing that hits you is the smell of baking bread.
Bread.
That
Is it
is
sourdough?
that's like a weakness. I definitely am like grabbing Luigi, and wherever that bread smell's coming from, I'm like, This is not people. We need to eat. Let's go.
This is not
Okay,
people we need to eat.
I'm gonna hold
Mm.
Arcady back and say, you know what? I think there's every chance that we were killed in that firing squad, and we are now going through the 9 hells.
And do I hear this?
Okay.
Then I follow on with the other two because
If I hear
Greg,
this,
I'm
if I hear
starving.
this, I say, there is no bread in hell.
Mm,
But
there's
we
no pork
only
either. But you seem to eat quite a lot.
we only have the smell of bread, Ilyana. We
Oh.
didn't see it yet.
Okay, so do you follow
Yeah.
Ileana, who's like making a
Yeah.
beeline for
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
smell of baking bread?
Of course.
All right,
Of course.
perhaps needless to say, you rock up at another basement, and you can hear these voices from in there talking away. They're talking in Russian, though. They're not talking in German.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know Russian.
You do not, but everyone else does. So they're all going, "Hey, that's Russian, very clearly Russian." Um, and yeah, there's the sound of voices talking in Russian.
What
So,
are they?
is Ilania in the lead?
That is my assumption because they were the one with the nose for the
Yeah.
baked bread. So
And what are they? What can
Then
I?
I'm
What
slightly hanging back because Russians are only slightly worse than Germans, something like that.
I'm dragging Luigi, if he will allow me to drag him.
Yeah.
He should be also, as an Italian, wanting bread.
Yeah. Yeah. I escaped my meal, so yeah. I'm
Yeah.
completely. Yeah.
But can I
so the door
understand
is
what they're saying?
closed. What do you do?
Can I understand
Oh,
what they're
they're
saying?
Yeah, well, you listen carefully. It's first of all, it's female voices
Okay.
talking, and mostly talking about making bread.
I knock.
You know, one of them's congratulating the other on finding that, that drop of supplies.
I knock in a way that would be a Russian way.
Yeah.
And I speak and I say, please, can we come in?
The moment of silence on the other side of the door, and this voice that sort of whispers out, "How many of you are there?"
4.
Have you
Sort of
booked?
quiet whispered conversation on the other side of the door, and the door sort of slightly opens, and this somewhat older woman is looking at you, and looks at because the good news is Luigi's not a big guy. Luigi's sort of tries to look around you to see if you've got a whole bundle of, crazy Germans or crazy Russians with you. Yes, you can come in, but we're armed, she says quite forcefully. And
We're not
sort of
we're not
gestures in.
we are not so armed. We're not so armed.
Okay. Remember, you are speaking Russian. You can speak
Yeah.
in perfect.
We're not so armed. We can come in. Come on.
Okay. All right. She gestures for you to come in. And you can see there's 2 other women in here with her. They've obviously scored some part of a supply drop. So the Luftwaffe are dropping these long, sort of torpedo-shaped supply canisters that they parachute in that land randomly through the city, and then there's a desperate scrabble to get to the supplies. And obviously they managed to grab some before whichever of the armed forces was running there. So they've got a bag of flour and a couple of other things, and they're busy actually making bread. Like, it's flat bread, but they're making bread and sort of cooking it on a skittle, like a fry pan.
Yeah, Luigi is just looking at the bread, and his mouth is open, and he's just.
Well, they gesture for you to come in, and they go, "We don't have a lot." So when the 2 big Russian soldier types come in, there's a moment of silence in the room as they realize this is going to split the food even less conveniently. Um, but but you're here now, and so they sort of gesture and ask you, who are you? Where, you seem you're you're obviously Russians because you're now wearing Russian, of
Mm,
course,
mm.
jackets. You're wearing Russian military jackets over everything else, and so there's this instantaneous kind of quick fire set of questions about which unit you're with, and did you cross the river or did you come from the north or the south? Like they're quite excised about the fact that you've come to liberate them from the Germans.
Luigi just don't
I
understand any word they are
I
saying
s-
and just looking at Eliana.
I explain basically what we've just done, that we were going to get shot, we convinced them, then the shelling started, we met some real wackos, and we escaped them, and we're now here.
So you give them the whole story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. They look at you for a moment. Oh yes, you got to be careful. There's these, the Germans are desperate. I even heard, they were literally butchering people for food.
I raise my eyebrow at Ilyana and Arcady. Just a raised eyebrow.
Just,
Mm.
you know, um, of course, we've known forever that they eat children. She says quite ferociously and directly. And you are all recalling all of the propaganda sort of posters that you've seen of German soldiers eating babies or killing them or various other things that have been definitively thrown in your face in various forms over the last 12 months. But they quickly sit you down and start to sort of, this bread is cooking. You guys are all sitting around. They are armed, but basically with knives, not firearms. And they definitely sit you on the other side of the fire from them. So there's a definitive you sit over there and we will sit over here, sort of carry on. They quickly feed you. For the most part, you feel somewhat, sort of full. For those of you, I should ask, does Iliana and Arcady eat the bread? Uh,
Yep, definitely, it's delicious. Yeah.
um, uh, and then they sort of look at you after you've eaten with this kind of vaguely questioning look, like, what's your plans now?
Uh,
Um,
So I'm as you're eating, I'm gonna ask them what their story is. Are they local residents who've been
yeah,
hiding
yeah,
in?
they've
Yeah.
they've been hiding for the year or so of the battle over Stalingrad, and
So I
concealing
will
themselves
speak
in
with
various
all the
basements.
fervour I have heard Arcady speak of finally defeating the Germans, creating Stalin in the world. Um, but right now, I say, right now, we need to get back to our unit. And the unit which I will suggest is my old unit, whatever that was.
Yeah, it's
Um,
one of the various militia/guard units that was stood up in
Mm.
Stalingrad to defend Stalingrad. I have an
and that
incredibly long
means
list of them, but let's just assume it's one of them.
Mm.
the
All I have,
Russians surround the Germans, but getting back to Russian lines without getting shot by either side is going to be a challenge, I say.
Yes, they agree. Like, I mean, thank God the Germans are getting their comeuppance, but they're also very aware of the reality of sort of Russian commands, um, and in some ways represent the classic dichotomy of the people of Russia at this point, which is there's still a fairly significant dismissal of the entire communist kind of model. But at the same time, the Germans have activated what is in a genuine national fervor to fight. So yeah, they're just as sort of conflicted as you in a very real sense of the word. Um, make a. Do you have charm or persuade? Which one have you
I
got?
do have a charm. Yeah,
I have
happy to
charm.
do that.
Make a charm roll for me, please.
Fuck.
Mm. Yeah, yes.
Remember, I got 01 on charm. I just want you to remember
I
that.
remember it. Yeah, you shouldn't have
Mm.
wasted that roll. That's the message that I'm hearing. I mean, should have
I was
chosen a
just
different
working out how
skill.
the interface works.
Ah,
Yeah,
well, and
you
now
can
you
spend.
know. Now you know exactly how the interface works. It led you astray with a
Mm.
false sense of security in its first roll, but
Mm.
now it's giving you exactly what Cthulhu gives you.
Mhm.
Well, they're kind
Okay,
of
now tell you what, this may be a time when I'm going to push this roll. What are the consequences of pushing?
the consequences of the push are if you fail this, they're gonna try and kick you out.
Right, well, there's worse. Hold on, what's going on here?
We were thinking we'd probably leave anyway. We're not going to stay there forever,
Mm.
are we?
Oh.
6. That's better.
Well, so they basically, yeah. So she answers you, and we're look, we're very keen to support you, but we also only have limited supplies. But if you need a place to sleep tonight that's warm, you can stay here, and then tomorrow you'll have to sort of, go and find your own way. Now, I
I
will
think
point
that's
out you are
reasonable.
actually carrying supplies in your own right. So you've got about a 2 days worth of supplies between what you stole from the Germans when you first exited through Ileana's, sort of
Yeah.
swift hands. And then, of course, you did find some additional supplies in the second basement that you exited via. So you have
Mm.
about 2 days worth of supplies, which does give you a bargaining chip. You can sort of offer up things in
Yeah.
your own right, because so far they've fed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah,
given them
we
nothing.
can give them some stuff back. Just
I'm
sorry.
asking them if I can help anything getting repaired, if anything busted, like the stove or
And
anything.
then
I can.
when he said that in German, I shall translate
Yeah,
into Russian and say, he's
of course.
offering to, is there anything you need repaired?
Uh, they look at each other for a moment, realizing that one of you is not Russian, which is the first time that sort of realization dawns upon them. But yeah, they point to some broken tools that they have. They don't have any mechanical equipment per se.
Mm.
There's an old radio. Actually, one of them points to an old radio. She says this hasn't worked for ages. Like, it would need batteries, which we don't have.
Mm. I
Now,
don't know if
Luigi, you
don't
reckon
have
you
it.
could you could
Well, you
you
say
could
you
get
have.
the torch to
Yeah, I was
to
thinking
to
about
connect
torches.
in,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would also mean not having the torch anymore.
Uh, nope,
I
I will
gave it
not
to
do
you.
it. Yeah.
Gonna hang on to that torch. All
Mm.
right.
Well, they can have my they like to be fair, I have eaten fairly well today. And in my pocket I have a tin of all I can think of, like the tin of supplies, all I can think of is it's like dog food.
Yeah.
So it makes one to be sick. After the delicious food we've already
Yes.
had, the idea of plopping this stuff out and heating it up is like, but it is proper supplies. It would be fresh and probably go well with their bread. So I'm going to offer that to them just as a offer of goodwill, really.
Yeah. So the formal equivalent of bad spam is put on the table.
I love spam.
Such an English thing to say.
And can
How dare
so
you?
and so can I ask them
Or I
if
should say Irish, perhaps, in your defense.
uh, And I'm willing to give up my can of meat for bread because I have this. I just believe that bread is the stuff of life, and that will keep us going more than protein. So
Okay. All right. So go those carbs. All right.
Can
So
I can is there anybody there that can treat my minor wounds?
ooh,
Oh, I was going to say that. I forgot when you got wounded. I thought, yeah, I really should offer to sort of because I've got quite a good
medicine skill.
Well,
I've got
now
First
that
aid
we're
skill.
not
quite
running
good
through
first
it,
aid. But yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah, something made me forget, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, no, I
you
was
should
that.
keep
Yeah,
it fresh,
would
probably.
you like to
Okay.
be treated? It's pretty good. I think I could do it.
Yep.
My
Go for it.
medicine.
Technically,
Yeah,
you meant to do it in the first hour I've just read, but that's okay because we didn't know that. So just roll.
yeah, and yeah, good.
don't get 100.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
And he's
fudgy
dead.
dumplings. Can I push it?
You can, but the consequence of that is making his
You'll
wounds
lose a leg.
worse.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you prepared to
Sepsis.
accept that
No.
consequence? I'll do it. I'll do it. Just
Seeing your
listen to the
prompt
doctor.
reviews, I,
No, okay.
I'm a little bit suspicious that given that you've eaten, shall we say, tainted meat,
Mm.
I think I might just be thinking that actually you might not be the right doctor for me.
Mm.
So
Really?
when you start to push at it, I'm going, yeah, I think you've done enough. I'm
One
feeling a
slice
lot
for
better,
me.
honestly.
No.
Okay, well, no, that's
We're
fair enough.
good, he
I haven't
says.
made it. I haven't made it worse, have
Mm.
I? I've just honestly, my rolls are terrible. But no,
Mm.
so at least I made the effort. So I
Welcome
think
to
we should,
Cthulhu.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Boris sees, even though I fluffed it, Boris can see that I've made the effort, and I think that will stand our relationship in good stead in the future, despite not having failed actually in this particular case.
And the dice rolling is explicitly why when we ran our last Cthulhu campaign,
Mm.
we did it using Basin rules. Um, not Cthulhu rules.
Okay, well, anyway,
Well, I
sorry
felt
about that.
important that African Americans are
Not that
successful in
Betson
what they do.
leaves you much more capable of doing
Mm.
anything.
No, but a little, but you know, the chances
I
of
think what it
success are
does do,
significantly higher.
it doesn't make you spend 55 points on charms, so you can spend
Mm.
nothing on fast talk or
Yes,
Yeah.
only having what
wait.
only having what 12 12 skills, 12 skills. That does make it much simpler. All right, so
Manipulate.
no, you try and recover or repair the wound and are not particularly successful. Boris, you are still injured. Okay. So you can rest for the night, and to progress things along, you do. So you rest for the night. Now, at this point, it occur so a quick sort of discussion occurs. So you kind of know there's three ways out of the city. They're reasonably well known, so it's not news. One way out of the city is to forge or acquire the necessary paperwork to get on one of the evacuation flights, but does require you to pass, in effect, as Germans, with the necessary passes to get on an aeroplane. And mostly people getting on aeroplanes are badly injured. It's also not super.
Oh, go on, quickly again, Doctor. No,
Just
we don't want to get on a German plane to
Mm.
Germany.
yeah,
Can I
going back.
just say, I think being in Stalingrad's a bit shit, but I mean,
Being
particularly
Russians
for
in
some of
Germany
us.
feels might be worse,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
at least not better. Certainly not
Mm.
better.
Mm.
Certainly doesn't improve the situation. The other two ways out of the city are to attempt to basically go cross country and get past both German, which are pretty non-functional at this point, but German lines, but then much more importantly, get past the Russian lines. The third way out of the city that you're aware of is to, in effect, follow the river south. So the Volga goes south and empties into the Black Sea. Yeah, the Black Sea. Ultimately, at this point, it's frozen, so you can sort of follow it along and use it as your sort of road, as it were, or at least your guiding path. Now, you're assuming that it will also be defended, but actually, in some ways, maybe less so, and certainly at least you wouldn't be lost. Like you'd have a pretty clear sort of path to follow. So the river, if nothing else, would provide you with clear direction because it's pretty easy to get turned around in the sort of open ground when it's just snow covered, and find yourselves quite completely lost.
Is the river frozen at this stage? Is it
Yeah,
the winter?
very.
I mean, the deep. Yeah, it is winter,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
deep winter, so yeah, it is frozen at this point.
But we'd still be able to tell it was the river, and we wouldn't just walk across it. And
Yeah, you can find because there's trees and other things growing along the river's edge, so it's at least somewhat easy to distinguish from the surrounding terrain.
I
Okay.
I suggest that we take the river south, but before we leave the streets, I'm either aware of or I'm thinking that I may be aware of places where there may be guns or soldiers that may have died and looting the bodies of their weapons. And so there
Yep,
should be bodies around. There was shelling last night, whatever, and so therefore my thoughts are survival, grab guns, take ammunition as we get out of the city.
cool.
I can't disagree with that.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next morning, you awaken, you're in this little cozy, warm space, and you sort of gather up you gather yourselves up. Now, they're willing for you to stay another night, if you need it. But assumingly what you guys do is sort of gather up what you've got and sort of head out into the city to locate, these supplies. It doesn't take you long.
Okay, before we leave, I'm going to say be careful of Frederick. If there is an officer or if there is a soldier who, and I describe what he looks like, I say you stay away from Frederick. Is there any sense of recognition from their faces?
No, probably not. For them,
Okay,
to a large extent, the Germans are just a sort of monolithic
okay,
horror,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
they know to
absolutely.
stay away from German soldiers. That's kind of, kind of a given. So
Okay,
they
so
haven't spent a lot of time getting to know them.
I just warned them.
Yeah. They all nod, very, very seriously. And then you head out into the sort of morning light to sort of find this supply set. Um, you can see, let's see. So, what do you find? Da, 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 12. Okay.
it's not a pizza parlor, is it?
Yeah.
There's so uh you're sort of searching around and you stumble with literally great luck as far as you're concerned anyway. So there's one of these metal canisters that I was describing earlier, the supply drop canisters, sort of lying right in the middle of the street. Sort of, it's obviously been dropped and crashed here. There's a sort of half unfurled parachute sort of lying along with it. Yeah, it's just lying there in the middle of the street.
Can we check the surrounding? I know can be a trap for snipers. Can we check if there is any someone perching anywhere?
You can make a spot hidden roll for me, please.
not my goodest.
Oh,
Too far. Yeah, too far. Too far. What? And
Yeah, that's
and
puzzle.
it's yeah, and yeah, my skills is not promising to push it. So yeah, I cannot risk it.
Okay, so you have a look around. You can't see anything that's obviously giving any vibes. Everyone can make a roll if they want. By the way, they don't have to. You don't
Of
have to
spot-
feel restrained on this one.
spot hidden.
So what sort of role are we looking at?
Spot hidden. Yep,
Spot
because
hidden.
you're all
I
a
can
bit
do
sus.
that.
I'm gonna have a go, I think.
It's a yes from Ileana.
Oh,
A double yes from Boris.
Two-star win.
Ooh, I thought I'd done one.
71. Nice.
Did I do one? No. Oh,
No.
I could be.
Boris
No, I
did
haven't
really
done one.
well.
I'm gonna do one.
And there's Arcady, who also
Yeah.
gets a success. Boris,
Hmm.
your spidey sense is tingling.
Hmm.
This all looks very convenient. You have a quick look around. You can't see any sign of like snipers, which is what Luigi is sort of calling out. We should keep an eye for. And by the way, you agree with him. There are snipers rife through the city at the moment, so
Hmm.
both Russian and German. So it's wise to look at open ground as potential death trap. But you're sort of more perplexed by the fact that it appears the canister hasn't been touched at all, and it must have fallen like several hours ago, right? And that just isn't normal. Like it would have been raided within a minute, as it were, you know. The moment people see the parachutes falling, it's a desperate scrabble to get to that supply set. This one's just lying there and it looks uniquely untouched, which makes you highly suspicious.
I agree with Luigi. Let's move on. Let's just move on.
Okay, so you do not cross the open ground. You do not open or attempt to open the supply canister.
If this were night,
Can we not throw
maybe
something
I'd
out?
feel differently, but not at this time of day.
Can we not throw something out that would draw fire or something like that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Arcady,
Yeah.
I want to stealth over.
you want to give it a try?
Yeah, how do we do
Sorry?
that though? What can we throw out? Oh yeah, or stealth it, yeah.
I'm
I've got good
stealthing it.
stealth,
I'm
so-
absolutely going over.
Okay, all right. Gosh.
Can I help Ileana?
Make a stealth roll. No, stealth rolls
Okay.
are. I'm making the stealth roll.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Which they do with great
Yes.
aplomb.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, you
Like the wind.
using a combination
Great
of,
plums.
you know, urban debris and other things, you quickly cover the distance to the canister, moving as quietly as possible.
I'm keeping my eye on
Is this something that I can
buildings.
bring over, or is this something that I can kind of open and
You
just
can't carry
take?
the whole thing. You open it.
Now,
and
these
get what you
canisters
can.
are like 2 to
Oh.
3. They're like 3 meters long.
Oh, okay. So,
They're not this. They're like a
but I
giant
can.
torpedoes. But
Okay, but I can open it up.
You can.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, make a luck roll
Do
for me,
it.
please.
I did get 3.
You did. You were incredibly successful at creeping over and not being seen.
But not necessarily lucky enough to not have the bomb go off.
As it turns out, you are just lucky enough not to have the bomb go off. So when you go to open the door,
Mm-hmm.
you can see a string has been strung from the inside of the door to something inside the canister.
Okay.
And you can also see the canister itself is looking pretty empty.
Okay. I get the hell out of there.
Okay. So you let go of the door and make for the hills. Nothing happens because to your point, you've been very successful in sneaking backwards and forwards. Yes, you can safely report that someone had booby trapped the canister with an explicit intent to harming whoever next tried to open it.
I might
Damn it.
suggest that if at least two of us, Luigi and I, don't think it's a good idea, all you've done is prove that it wasn't a good idea. Just saying.
All
I
right.
just wanted to find munitions.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do.
I'm with you, Ileana. Yeah.
all I
move.
needed was
All I needed was a couple of dead bodies
all I needed.
with guns.
Okay, so you move past that scene and further into the city, still looking for supplies. You find a sort of crater, like a exploded space, and there's a dead, or most of a dead horse lying at the bottom of this crater, obviously caught in one of the explosions. It must almost be the last horse that was alive in the city, because they've been eaten in almost every circumstance. So there's a dead horse with what looks like it was pulling something, like maybe it was pulling wood or something else. So there's a sort of travois kind of sort of arrangement coming off the back of the horse. But yeah, it's at the bottom of this kind of small crater, bits of horse and other things. Uh, it's there. It looks, I don't know. Do you want to make spot hit? I assume you will make spot hidden rolls to check for suspect things. I'll just give you that assumption now. Once bitten, twice shy, that sort of thing. Ho! Luigi's on fire. Unlike Arcady, who's like, what? What's going on?
Why am I here?
I'm just wondering if I could eat it.
The Motherland will protect.
Looks delicious.
It looks delicious.
But I mean, it should be semi-frozen, shouldn't it? So we should be able to easily cut off and preserve whatever.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually think this is probably pretty good. Luigi, it's up to you whether you tell the others, but it's pretty obvious that the horse was pretty directly hit, so bits of horse are everywhere. It's also pretty obvious to you that someone was with the horse when it was direct hit, and so there's bits of person and bits of horse everywhere. And so
I tell them.
You tell them. Okay, all right. So Luigi admits that not all of this meat is horse. Some of it is not horse. Don't know who. Don't know when.
Yeah. It's your choice, Arcady and Eliana. But
it could be kind of like a Tudurkin. Like that sort of thing.
It's like a London broil.
Delicious. No, I'm not that hungry. I've had my fill today. So
no. Move on, I guess. Move on.
I think so.
Well, no. So Arcady, you could possibly divide it because you've got skills. You're not unfamiliar with animal meat and other things.
Why must you tempt me in this way?
Remember, Arcady was
Russians.
Remember, Arcady was so clueless.
Do you know what? I don't want to eat a person, but if we find fresh meat, which is horse, and I've had horse, it's not bad. So I think we should try and get rescue as much horse as possible. It's frozen, so it should be relatively easy to carry, and it's in bits already, so we don't have to carve it up. Who's with me?
No.
No, all right, fair enough. More
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me
Oh,
again.
It's like,
Well, I mean,
Mm.
realistically, like, I mean, if I was capable in this kind of situation of, separating the human out from the horse, realistically, I would go for that,
yeah,
I think, because we
yeah,
are starving. And so far,
yeah.
we've been lucky
Mm.
because we've met some cannibals and some lovely Russian bread makers, but we might not find
Oh,
that sort
Yeah,
of thing again for some time. So
yeah,
whether or not you guys want it,
yeah.
I mean, we've checked to make sure that it's not. Oh, it isn't booby trapped, is it? Have we checked that?
No, don't.
it's already
So
exploded. So
yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
I am
Yeah, no, but
absolutely. I mean, the two people who had the bowls of lovely pork stew, uh, uh, are absolutely. I'm behind this. I realize as a Russian that the only way of survival, and survival is the name of the game, is to eat, and so I'm anything. Yeah, anything to make this
good,
make us live.
good. Okay, we'll do that. Well, I'll do it. I don't mind. I'll do
okay. The So you guys are sort of ferreting around when a quite familiar voice um, sort of shouts
Ah,
from the top of the pit, and you can see Frederick
it.
um, there at the top of the pit, looking down at you. Uh, and sort of goes, brothers and sisters of the great provider, um, good job on finding this fresh meat. Well done. Um,
Yes, absolutely. We were going to include you in this. Take as much as you like, um, but we must move on. We have heard from our colleagues, and we must go north. But please take as much as you like.
well, and we'll
nice
we'll pause it
misdirection.
right on this comment because it'll be a useful way
yeah.
to break the session. Um, well, one assumes you just when you say go north, you mean you want to get out of the
Uh,
city.
well, we've got to get back to our comrades.
Well, we're all comrades, he says, under the
Well,
great
come with
provider.
us. Come with us if you
Well,
like.
I was going to suggest you could come with me. I have a way out of the city.
Ooh.
What's the
And
equivalent? We will close it here. Okay.
well, no, go on, ask your question, and then we'll
Uh,
close
uh,
it.
yeah, the equivalent of insight check or
It's
um,
psychology.
Mm.
psychology.
Yeah.
Quite good at
Yeah,
that.
I'm quite good at psychology as well.
I'm rubbish.
Oh, are we all going to make the psychology check?
You can, I would
Oh,
assume you're all going to pile in
I
on this
want
one.
to make a
Mm.
psychology check because I have 10 in it.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah,
that
I have
good,
a 10
actually.
as well. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Go!
Oh, yes, baby. Oh, do
And
we
you
all think
did
he
make
might be
a
a bit dodgy?
psychology check, Ileana, and you did.
Mm.
All right. So for the people who made it, of which there are two, both with
Wait,
great success,
wait.
he's been dead serious. Like he's genuinely has a way out of the city, or at least he believes he genuinely has a way out of the city. Um, um,
But he is a German, though.
I'm gonna spend. I'm spending the
I mean,
3.
German, Russian,
He
it's all,
he
yeah,
transcended into something completely new.
I
what is he
Creature of the
really?
outer dark, one of the two.
Yeah, being of the outer dark, exactly. Sorry, Ileana. Sorry, Doug. What were you going to
yeah
say?
no I was trying to spend whatever the points were to get that great success or
Oh,
incredible success, and I just
uh, increased success to extreme costs 1 luck.
yeah that's
That's
that
If you
that's
fantastic.
right click on the double star,
oh
it
it's
literally
right
offers you. Right, left. Hold on.
Left,
Left.
but then
Left.
yeah,
Left
yeah, I've
click,
tried
and
a
then
number of
hold
times,
down.
but it won't let me go further down. But anyway, whatever. Okay.
There you go. I did it.
Oh,
for you.
there it is. Okay.
All right. I don't know why it wasn't working for you, but I could.
I just
push the
want to
button
make
and it would
absolutely
do it.
sure for the cost, it's worth it. I hope.
Okay. What do you know? He has definitely got a way out of the city. He clearly believes he genuinely thinks he's helping you. Like he sees you as comrades or
Okay.
sisters and brothers. Like that's not a joke. He's definitively on your side. You get the impression. Whether you want to be on his side is a completely different question, but he definitively sees you as being on his. And yeah, he's
Okay.
actually seriously trying to help you. Like the impression you get is this is someone who wants you to thrive.
So I indicate to Luigi that and everybody that he's a good guy. What do we have to worry
He's
about?
got your
He's got our back.
I'm not sure with your psychology check. You think he's a good guy, but he definitely sees you as fellow travelers, and he wants to help you.
Okay. Good place to end.
Cool. All right, that's where we'll stop it because I've been pinged for needing to go to the markets and do other things. It's the dogs market, not our market. We go to the farmers market the other day. This is the sort of I meet other dogs and we sniff butts. So it's a good way to get my psychology check in for the dog. Cool. Okay. Well, look. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The one thing I'm always really bad at with Cthulhu is using sanity checks. I just don't like them as a mechanic, which creates a genuine struggle for me when I'm running Cthulhu. Because it is actually I should have made you make at least 2 sanity checks already. I will do better next session, because apparently that's how the rules work, so I should probably play them that way.
Well,
Particularly since I'm intending to run it at Chaosium Con, it's probably going to be frowned upon if I don't,
there wasn't any.
adhere to
I don't think that there was anything that we as characters wouldn't have already seen.
Yeah, it's one of the not problems, but it's one of the aspects of the setting, right? Which is how do you define horror when you've gone through 6 months of horror? Do you know what I mean? Like everything is normal.
I still think eating human flesh might have made sense.
Well, and that's
was
kind of the one I'm thinking.
Or
the
writing in blood. The writing in blood, I think, probably is more scary than, seeing a dead horse and a dead body, which would be relatively normal under the
which technically in
circumstances.
the rules is actually has a bit of a punch in sanity check rules.
Yeah.
Seeing a dead body is, I think, a D4 or something, maybe even a D6. It's like quite a significant.
Seeing a dead body where every way we look is a dead body.
But if you're
exactly. Well, there's a scene. There's a scene which we won't use. So I've got this whole random table, and one of the scenes is you run into a bunch of other Hueys who are literally just stacking dead bodies, like just stacking them because there's so many. And they're just piling them up.
But I mean, that's
'Cause they're
normal
frozen.
for 43. But if you're in 27, 1927,
Oh, no,
and
absolutely.
you're in New
Absolutely.
York or Arkham or whatever, I mean, this is not something that you're going to see every day. So it's a completely different.
It's a really good call out, though. I might make sure I put it into the write-up I've done, just on the whole, like
That's why it's
what
a
is not
playtest.
normal and what is normal for the setting is quite a big deal. Because if you play the rules as written, you'd be insane a day into the adventure, before you've done anything and met anything that's actually horror, in the Cthulhu sense. All right.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for running through it. I was going to try and set it up again for next week, but obviously if you're not available, that's cool, but I'll put it out there and see if people can make it.
I guess I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool.
I think I might have Aussies.
Ooh.
Other Aussies.
Yeah.
Are these the Sydney Aussies? Is it Sydney Aussies?